Hey everybody, what's up? Try to get everything in here. Just hold on for a second. The best I can. There we go. At least try to get everybody in there. I guess that'll do. Yeah, you can see the title down below. I thought I'd kind of catch some people up that might be new to the comic. I thought I'd catch some people up to who might be new to the comic, basically, as to what's really going on. And, just for anybody that might be new. Now, I will say this. I have not read some of the issues that you may have read, so for some of you that might be new to this. But here's what's going on. This is basically to update anybody that might be out of the loop, might be coming back to the comics and wondering what everybody's talking about, what's going on. For those that are new, and for those that just basically want a simplified, straight up explanation, if you will. Straight up explanation, if you will, as to what is happening in the comics and why everybody is kind of like topsy-turvy about it, kind of in different directions, and if not so much divided by what's going on. Well, let me put it this way. Back in the 160s, if you will, Ian Flynn, who was a fan artist and fan fiction writer and webcomic writer, if you will, known infamously for his Other M webcomic, got hired on by Archie Comics as the new head writer, and it was around the 160 issues, I think the 160 itself, that he made his head writing debut. And he's been the head writer ever since. So essentially, you're looking at close to about 90 issues for Ian Flynn. Exactly almost 90 issues, going to be 90 issues, of course, being with the upcoming 250. So, yeah, 90 issues for Ian Flynn. 89, of course, being, 49, of course, being 89. 48 being 88, and 47 being 87. So essentially, you've got about 86, he's basically 86 issues in to his run with the comic book. Anyway, Ian Flynn, basically when he came on board, was doing what he considered cleanup. He was cleaning up a lot of the, I guess you could say some of the plot holes and stuff that were left behind, getting rid of certain characters that didn't need to be there, as he would put it, and other fans would agree on. Didn't need to be there. So essentially that's what he was doing. Anyway, after doing what he considered cleanup duty for a while, he started writing his own original stories, his own material into the book. And this all started basically around the 175th issue. You see, before this, he started to, like I say, clean up a lot of other things. One of the stories that he basically did in a hurry, I guess you could say, and kind of cleaned up and got out of the way, was the wedding between Bunny and Antoine. That's right. For those of you that were into the comic back when, back when we were going towards issue 50 and stuff, if you will, when we're going towards issue 50, for those of you that read those issues and probably stopped after a while and didn't get back into the issues until recently, and those of you out there that are new and are catching up via the archives and stuff, basically, originally, the former head writer was if you will, was planning on marrying Antoine and Bunny off in issue 200, But Ian Flynn decided, you know what, I've got other plans for that. Let's go and hurry this up. Let's just get out of the way. And there you go. Another thing that he did, and some agree with this, some don't. Excuse me for a second. But again, some people agree with this, some don't. Issue 172, he made Fiona Fox into a bad girl. Now, we all pretty much figured at first, if you read the stories, the Knuckles issues, where she appeared and stuff, after her, of course, her animatronic appearance, Fiona Fox basically was more of a, well, not a bounty hunter, but she was more of a treasure hunter. Kind of like Rouge, if you will, which we found out she had a bit of a rivalry with in the comics. But anyway, short story, if you will, she ends up becoming a freedom fighter while Sonic is gone. Well, at least we think she is. And because of this, she ends up starting to date Sonic. Now, we don't know why she's dating Sonic, what's going on, how this happened, but apparently it has to do with the fact that she found an attraction in the anti-Sonic, who is now known as Scourge, thanks to Ian Flynn. That's right, Ian Flynn renamed, recolored, and redesigned the anti-Sonic. Hold on for a second. Trying to get my dog in. Sorry about that, I was trying to get my dog in. She likes to go outside a lot, which isn't bad, but you know, she likes to play games like, hey, you want me in? Come get me kind of deal. But anyway, Ian Flynn basically recolored or redesigned evil Sonic, if you will, anti-Sonic, by having him use the Master Emerald to turn himself into into Scourge, a green hedgehog with scars on his chest, and so forth. Anyway, I'm trying to make this short, but long story short again, basically she finds an attraction in him when he's posing as Sonic, and tries to find those same qualities that she found in him in the real Sonic, and apparently, depending on how you look at it from a fan's point of view, she doesn't find those same qualities, thus she turns traitor and goes with Scourge. I know, kind of confusing, right? Kind of confusing, but that's basically what happened, thanks to Ian Flynn. And then that's kind of what led us into what was originally supposed to be for issue 200. You see, in the following issue, Antron proposes to Bunny, and then the issue that follows that, they're married. That's right. He proposes. They go on a mission with Sally and Sonic, and then they get married in the next issue. Kind of weird, right? But the end of that issue leads us into the 175th issue, which again, sort of is where Ian Flynn started to write and produce his own original stories. And he started to do what a lot of people call the shock value, or he started to do things nobody would expect. For example, he did the one thing that Ken Penders, the former writer, came close to doing but never really achieved, and that's Ian Flynn wrote the story in 175 to where Eggman literally wipes out Knothole. I mean, he literally wipes it out. He literally wipes it out and basically captures most of the characters, except for the game characters. Game characters, of course, being Sonic, Tails, Amy, and Knuckles. And the exception being Nicole. And the exception being, of course, Nicole. But he basically captures everybody else via these teleportation beams that looks like he blasts everybody into smithereens. He disintegrates them, but instead he teleports them, if you will, to his egg grapes in his new base in Megaopolis. Basically planning to suck the life energy out of them to power his empire. So basically what happens is he destroys Knothole. He has this new egg bot that he's piloting that basically wipes the floor at Sonic. Following issue, Sonic, Amy, Tails, Knuckles, and Nicole end up staging a rescue mission to Megalopolis, end up freeing everybody, because Eggman obviously got too cocky and thought, oh, you know, I beat you guys, it was so easy, now I'm just going to drain you guys and be done with it. The only semi-successful thing he does when he comes to draining life forces is charming. And apparently, according to a lot of fans, the reason he did this is because obviously somebody from upstairs ordered Charmy to be changed into his game counterpart or something, I'm not sure. But anyway, he tries to recapture everybody again once they're free, but instead Nicole ends up hacking into his system and teleports them to the former Nanite City that was built, which has now been rebuilt into the new Mobotropolis, which also helps sustain her in her holographic form. That's right, Nicole has a holographic form that you may have seen. That of a lynx. So anyway, he tries to attack that city. That nothing happens there. We sort of get hints as to what's going to be upcoming in a few issues, in the next 2 issues. But basically, he tries to attack that. He's defeated when Sonic comes to realize, you know what, Eggman, you built that bot, you built that egg bot you're piloting to beat me. Hey, it did beat me, but guess what? You didn't program it to face everybody else. So, yeah, long story short, Eggman gets defeated, and this sort of starts his downward spiral to the nut house, if you know what I mean. So anyway, going through that, we sort of get a 2-part mini-series, a 2-part story arc, which is sort of like a mini Civil War. You see, the Prower family, which was recently Tails' mother and father, mostly his father, who were recently returned to Mobius because Sonic had discovered them on a distant planet, the planet of the Beams, the very alien race that was responsible for most of the de-robotization. Basically Tails' father feels that the Acorn family, the royal family, needs to give the power of, the power of decision making and stuff like that to the people. In other words, he wants the people to be in charge of their own destiny, or at least have something that represents the people. This, of course, also leads to a fight between Sonic and Tails in the following issue. And why does it lead to a fight between them? Well, because apparently, during Ken Penders and Carl Bola's run on the book, and then a little bit with Ian Flynn's run, we sort of had a bit of a unbalancing, a falling out, if you will, between both Sonic and Tails. And the reason the falling out happened, and the reason this fight occurred, that actually Tails started, was because Tails was upset, not at the fact that Sonic was trying to stop his parents, not at the fact that Sonic was trying to play the hero and be, big and bad, be, the guy that everybody looks up to, including Tails, but mainly because Tails had all this pent-up frustration at the fact that Sonic had dated Fiona. Basically, Tails let out all his frustration in issue 179 when he told Sonic, when Sonic tried to say to him, hey, you're taking everything I helped teach you and throwing it back, or throwing it away, what's your problem? And basically Tails tells him, oh yeah, everything to teach me? Is that why you dated Fiona? You wanted to teach me that? So yeah, technically Tails was mad at the fact that Sonic had dated Fiona. And basically let up all his frustration. And Sonic basically said, oh man, is that what this is about? Hey, if you feel that way, go ahead. Beat the hell out of me if you feel that way. Because actually Sonic matures here and says, look man, I did do you wrong. I'm sorry. I should have considered your feelings. Hold on for a second.